What's up, guys? I want to welcome you back to another Alpha Destiny exclusive. In this edition, I'll be debunking the myth that you could somehow separate size from strength. Because recently I've been getting a lot of comments from guys saying that, Alex, you don't know what you're talking about, man. If you're trying to get bigger, all you gotta do is squeeze the muscles, pump them up, really feel them working. And that you don't gotta increase your strength. And that's why bodybuilders are bigger than powerlifters. So for anyone who still holds this belief, for anyone who believes that strength does not matter if you are drug-free, allow me to shatter those beliefs right now. So here's the deal. What you need to understand is that as a drug-free lifter, progressive overload is the #1 driver of hypertrophy and strength. And if you do not increase performance in some way, your muscles will not get bigger. Now, when I say improve performance or improve strength, that does not mean to increase the weight necessarily. It could be increasing a rep. It could be increasing a set. It could be decreasing the rest time. It could be increasing your reps on a drop set, right? But the point is, you are still increasing something. Progressive overload is taking place. So when a guy tells you that strength does not matter, he's fucking full of shit. Because it does matter. Even if you're doing 8 to 12 reps, aka the hypertrophy rep range, you must still improve the performance on this rep range. So if you're just doing a 20-pound dumbbell curl for 8 reps, right, and do that for 10 fucking years, you will never get bigger ever. It's not going to happen. So all these guys saying, oh, if you're bodybuilding, you just got to squeeze your muscles and they're somehow going to magically get bigger. What planet do you fucking live on, bro? You need to improve your performance. If you're doing a 20-pound dumbbell curl for 8 reps, you got to up it to 10 reps. Then eventually 12 reps. The next thing you know, you're lifting 22.5. Then you redo the cycle. You're 8 reps, 10 reps, 12. Okay, now you up the weight to 25. And then after some years pass, maybe you're curling 50 pounds. And all of a sudden you have fucking big biceps. How did you do that? By increasing performance. You didn't just magically squeeze your muscles and they got bigger, right? So this nonsense needs to fucking stop, right? Now listen. Like I said, you don't have to be powerlifter strong. So you don't have to be doing 1 rep maxes or triples, stuff like that. You can easily get big doing reps of 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever. It can even be ultra high reps. But to state that strength does not matter is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life. And what I want you guys to understand now is that as a drug-free lifter, your muscle size is directly proportional to the strength that you acquire over time, okay? And this has been proven in looking at muscle biopsies. In fact, if you look at drug muscle versus natural muscle, drug users have more nuclei in their muscle cells. Therefore, if they train a muscle, it's going to respond better and develop better than a non-user. And this is non-debatable for your information. That's why a guy who ups the dose will immediately acquire larger traps, larger delts, larger upper pecs, right? And that's why it's so difficult to develop these regions as a natural guy. So if we know that the traps will get bigger when you start injecting shit, when you start upping the dose, why would it not apply to the rest of your body? In fact, how about we compare what happens when a guy goes on 500 milligrams of pharma-grade test versus a guy who trains hard? You want to know what happens? The guy who ups the dose will gain more size by just sitting on his fucking ass. And this, again, has been proven in studies. So all these people saying that it's the special training, they don't know what they're talking about. No, it's called upping the dose, buddy. Don't pull that bullshit card on me, all right? So it's not the special training. It's the drugs that guys are using. The drugs, and guess what? The genetics. That's what makes guys have the bodybuilder physique. Now, I know some guys are going to say, well, guess what, Alex? Roids make you strong, so you don't know what you're talking about. And yes, that may be true, but it's not going to be proportional to the size that you gain. Whereas in a natural guy, the size is directly proportional. The only stressor you have for gaining size is improving your performance. Therefore, it is directly 100% non-debatable correlated with your strength, right? Size is correlated with strength when you're drug-free, right? After neural adaptation cease, hypertrophy always occurs, right? And anything else beyond that point, again, has to do with other factors that are unrelated to training, such as limb lengths. Limb lengths is a huge one right there. The muscle insertions, right, which affects the way it's going to look, right? The muscle belly fullness, the roundness, all are things that are out of your control, but they are not affected by your training style, all right? So let's get that out of the way. Moving forward, I want to reference you guys my man Richard Hawthorne, which I did an interview with. Please check it out. You're going to have a lot of morons claiming that Richard looks the way that he does and that he's as strong as he is because of his training style. And for those who don't know, the guy's like 130 pounds about, and he deadlifts over 600. So guys are going to say the reason why Richard has these stats is because he trains in a very specific way. And you see, that's where these guys fuck up once again. Richard is that way because of his genetics. There is no Richard Hawthorne relative strength program. It does not exist. In fact, if you look at his program, that would put size on 99% of you guys. He does 10 sets of 10 for the big three. Now, do you people realize how much volume 10 sets of 10 is on a fucking deadlift? That would put most of you in a goddamn hospital. Seriously, 10 by 10, that's like German volume training, man. That's how I got my fucking OHP to 225. It's very hard to do. It's very high in volume. So you're going to tell me that 10 by 10 with over 500 fucking pounds does not put mass in your body? If it does not, what do you think is the reason behind this? Do you think it's because 10 by 10 doesn't work? Or is it because the person who's using 10 by 10 has certain genetics that prevent him from getting too big? Use your common sense. Powerlifters have this relative strength advantage because they are genetically set to doing these feats of strength. A guy who has the build, the guy who has the leverages, the guy who gains strength faster than he gains muscle is more likely to compete in powerlifting than bodybuilding. Whereas a guy who tends to grow very fast without gaining much strength, he will most likely compete in bodybuilding. So let me ask you, is it the training style or is it just the fact that people are more likely to compete in one of the two areas? Common fucking sense, all right? Let me give you another example. When I first started training, right, I used to do extremely high volume training, like very, very high volume training, and I had a partner with me. And we used to do the same fucking routine. We were the same height, very similar genetics, and we would just train together, right? And after 1 year of training, without any special strength training, I benched 225 for 5 reps, whereas my training partner did around 205 for 5 reps. Now, what do you think the differences were in terms of our physiques? Well, I was a little bit stronger than him, right? But guess what? He had 1 inch over me in my arms. I had about 15-inch arms. He had about 16. So explain to me, you're fucking geniuses. Explain to me why the guy had 1 inch more on me on his arms, even though we trained exactly the same. There was no differences in training style. What's your excuse now? We both did high volume bodybuilding type training. So you can't say it's because of special strength training. You can't say that, all right? We both did high volume. We both ate properly. We both trained together. There was no secrets, right? Yet he had 1 inch over me in terms of my arms. Do you want to know why he had 1 inch over me? Because of his fucking genetics, all right? But that's what people don't understand. They think that it's training style that gives you fast results in a muscle group. No, it's your fucking genetics. Some guys develop faster than others. Some guys have an advantage in neural gains. I happen to be one of those people for information. So some guys are more suited for strength. Other guys tend to grow a little bit faster. There are some dudes, after a year of training, they got 17-inch arms. And they did not have to gain that much strength. Now, are you going to tell me that it's because of their magical training style? Or is it because of their fucking genetics? Seriously, I know I may sound a bit harsh in this video, but I'm trying to get you guys to think critically about these issues. I'm tired of people saying that you cannot separate size from strength. You're wrong. As a drug-free lifter, your size is directly proportional to the performance that you gain over time, including weighted stretching. So for all you guys who say, well, if you just focus on the negative, you're going to gain muscle, guess what? You still have to increase the weight on that fucking negative, right? So if you're doing weighted stretching, like negative pull-ups or whatever with 50 pounds, if you do that for 10 years, you will not improve in size. You must increase that stretch to 75 pounds, 100 pounds. Only then will you see improvements in size. Or instead of increasing the weight, you must decrease the rest intervals. You must increase the duration of the stretch. But you must always, the point is, you must always increase a variable. You don't get bigger from doing the same fucking shit. All right? So this bullshit has to stop. Saying that you can't separate size from strength. They are inseparable. And a guy who gains really large amounts of strength but not size is the outlier. That does not represent the majority of the population. I guarantee you that if most of you have the strength of Richard Hawthorne or Max Tuning, that you will be much, much bigger than them. In fact, if you use their own training programs, if you use the program of Hawthorne, you will be fucking bigger than him. You will be bigger than him, hands down, even though you'll have similar strength development, if you can even get there. So it's not the training style. It's your genetics. Get that through your fucking head, right? It's the genetics and the drugs. And one final point that I would like to make. Guys are going to say powerlifters are smaller than bodybuilders because they don't do volume work. And whenever I hear these comments, it's like, bro, do you even periodization? In every periodization program that I've seen, volume and intensity is managed. All the best powerlifters that I know use higher repetitions. They do accessory work. They do fluff and pump work. All right? The reason why the muscles aren't as big is because it's a genetically set ratio, which you cannot alter through training. You cannot alter that, man. Some guys are going to gain strength faster than they do size. But to say that a powerlifter exclusively does 100 maxes and triples is false. That is misinformation. If you just go on a basic strength training website, you'll find that all of these powerlifters do higher rep training. They do have high volume. They do have a high total workload. All right? So stop with that. Stop saying powerlifters don't do high volume. Some of them do crazy amounts of volume, if not more than bodybuilders, yet they don't have the size to make up for it, okay? And by the way, keep in mind in this video, I'm referring to drug-free, right? And actually, can I raise one more point, please? Let me lay it on the line, then I'll end this video, right? If you actually look at top-level powerlifters, right, who are in a similar weight class to competitive bodybuilders, guess what? The size differences are not that different. So if you take a 200-pound natural powerlifter versus a 200-pound natural bodybuilder, 9 out of 10 times, their size will be exactly the fucking same. We only start seeing differences when you compare two different types of weight classes, which is foolishness. That's like comparing a lightweight boxer to a heavyweight boxer. You can't make that type of comparison. But if you take people in the same weight class, 200-pound powerlifter, 200-pound bodybuilder, same height about, maybe similar body fat, 9 out of 10 times they're going to have the same amounts of size. All right? It is what it is. And just look it up yourself. Look at the elite guys out there. You'll notice it's not that much different from real natural bodybuilders. Keep in mind, I'm saying real naturals, not fake natties. There's a big difference between the two. So that's really all I want to talk about today. You cannot separate size from strength. After normal adaptation ceases, hypertrophy always occurs. The amount of muscle you gain is relative upon your genetics, and it's not something you can alter through training style alone. So if you're training for bodybuilding purposes, you must still improve your performance in some type of way. All right? You can't just do bullshit for the rest of your life and expect to gain size. So that's my message of this video. Do you have any additional feedback for me? I want to hear. And with that, I will talk to you all next time.